Okay, so this video is about MBTI and how to mistype people based on their cognitive functions. So, if you don't know what cognitive functions are, I'll give you an example. At school, I am an INFP, but I am often mistyped as an INTJ. Sorry, that's my dog. She's over there barking at things. Anyway, I'm typed as an INTJ, even though I'm an INFP. So you would think that wouldn't happen, because they're pretty different, but actually, it did. Sorry, my storytelling skills aren't the greatest. Anyway, but the thing is, with the INFP, you have the functions are one, introverted and extroverted. You have introverted feeling first, right? But because it's introverted, you don't see that right away. Especially, if you're at school and you aren't necessarily getting to know every single person really in depth. And actually, even with people you do know, it's easy not to always see this. So my second function is an E, and that is more visible because it's extroverted intuition. It's extroverted, you see it, it's very out in the open, and it's the most obvious component of my personality. My third function is SI. Again, you don't see this almost at all, really, because it's not one of the two dominant functions. It's not extroverted. You just don't really see it that much. And then my final function is TE. And these aren't really to scale. This is just how they're normally drawn. I mean, typically you're gonna have your first function larger than all the others, and then it just goes in a pattern. But anyway, I'm trying to get that so you can see it. So what the school sees when they look, or what anyone sees, is they probably see the NE, and then they see TE. What did I do? Anyway, they see intuition, and they see thinking. So they have NT. Sorry, can you see that? Yeah, you can. Yeah. And then I'm introverted, they probably see introversion. And then INTJ, if you look at the functions, it has, it has intuition before it has thinking. INTP has thinking before it has intuition, so they type me as INTJ. I mean, I guess it's not that hard of a mistake to make, but it's still incorrect. And you can do this with anyone, really. I have a friend who is an ESTP, and the thing about ESTPs and any extroverted type, okay, is it's going to be easier to type them than introverts, because if you look at them, the very most obvious thing about them is their first function. With the introverts, their first function is introverted, you don't see it as much. So, let's see, gotta draw this out. This marker is dying on me. So, as an ESTP, her first function is gonna be SE. Very easy to see, very out in the open, big part of her personality. She likes to dance, that's associated with extrovert sensing. But then her second function is TI. And that's just a part of her that I don't really see. I don't think anyone does all that often, honestly. So, yeah, you don't really peg her as a thinker, but she is. I know this pretty much just because she told me, but I trust her and believe her. So, yeah, you have balance that right there. You have SE and TI, and that's mostly how she lives. She knows that, but as other people, we don't see the TI, so we see her third function, which is FE. And you probably noticed, if you're new to functions, you might have noticed by now that there's a pattern going with this. Yes, it's always extrovert, introverted, extrovert, introverted, or introvert, extrovert, introverted, extroverted. That's just how it goes. And yeah, and then her last function is NI, which she doesn't use as much. And we don't really see it, so not a huge part of her personality. So you see we've got the ESTP, and looking at her, you just see the, I'll hold this with my face, don't fall over, okay. You just see the S and the F. You don't really see the thinking side of her, and you pretty much don't ever see the intuition side. So if somebody was trying to type her, this includes me sometimes, you see her as an SF, and then you see her as an extrovert, and you see her as impulsive, and then you end up with ESFP. It's close, but it's not the right type. So this can really happen to anybody, and you know, it can happen to any type, it can happen to anyone, diagnosing anyone else. Except when you're diagnosing yourself, trying to type yourself, you're not going to make this function, you're not going to make this mistake quite as much because you know what you have for your introverted sides. But yeah, really you just need to get people to understand this and then type themselves. Don't try to type people unless you really know them very well, because otherwise you're going to end up mistyping them.